Donna Adelson is being sentenced as we speak after making an alternately angry and tearful statement to the court this afternoon, claiming she is going to prison for a crime she did not commit.
A Florida family turned a messy divorce into a murder plot and thought they'd get away with it. A Harvard professor shot in his driveway, a mother who claimed she just wanted peace for her grandchildren, and a son who lived like nothing happened. Tonight, we dive into the case that shocked Tallahassee and exposed a dynasty built on control, lies, and luxury. This is the story of the Adelsons and the murder that money couldn't bury.
Same person who's been at the other end of the line throughout his entire life, his mama, Donna Adelson.
Dan Markle was the kind of man who believed rules mattered. He taught ethics, wrote about justice, and never imagined his own life would turn into a courtroom drama. But his marriage to Wendy Adelson, bright, ambitious, and backed by one of South Florida's wealthiest dental families, was already cracking. When Wendy wanted to move the kids closer to her family in Miami, Dan said no. It wasn't cruelty, it was custody law. He wanted joint parenting, she wanted distance. From that moment, every phone call, every hearing, every rumor became fuel for something darker. Because the Adelsons weren't used to hearing the word no, and in their world, problems didn't get solved, they got removed. To outsiders, the Adelsons looked like a South Florida success story. Charlie Adelson was a flashy periodontist with fast cars and faster talk. His mother, Donna, the matriarch, polished, persuasive, and used to pulling strings. His father, Harvey, the quieter partner in the dental empire. They believed loyalty came before law and family came before truth. In the months after the divorce, conversations inside that family turned colder. Money flowed like water, cash payments, condo transfers, whispers about solving problems. What began as bitterness over custody became an obsession with control. Donna started calling Wendy every morning with the same question. When are you coming home? Not how are the boys, not are you okay, but when. To Donna, distance wasn't just miles, it was disobedience. She lectured friends about protecting family, but what she meant was protecting her authority. Charlie, meanwhile, turned paranoia into punchlines, telling co-workers he could fix any problem, Miami style. And Wendy, caught between a domineering mother and an ex-husband she still resented, began to crumble quietly. Colleagues at Florida State noticed her smiling less, checking her phone more, as if someone else was scripting her next move. At the Adelson dinner table, solutions were discussed like dental plans, clean, clinical, and without mercy. No one realized those conversations would soon replay in a courtroom for the world to hear. Neighbors heard arguments. Friends noticed Wendy's growing fear of losing the boys. And then one morning, in July 2014, Tallahassee woke up to news that would tear their carefully polished image apart. It was just after 11 a.m. on a sunny Friday when Dan Markle pulled into his garage. A neighbor heard two sharp cracks, then silence. Dan was still alive when police arrived, but couldn't speak. He died the next day, leaving behind two young sons and a custody battle frozen in time. At first, detectives thought it was a robbery. His wallet sat untouched. The house showed no forced entry. Nothing made sense until they found a trail leading not to strangers, but to people orbiting the Adelsons. A silver Prius caught on surveillance. Two hitmen from Miami linked to a woman named Catherine Magbanua, who just happened to date Charlie Adelson. And when investigators started tracing phone calls, one number kept coming up, Charlie's. The so-called bump recordings changed everything. FBI agents staged a conversation near Charlie's favorite cafe, pretending to be blackmailers demanding money. Hidden microphones captured his reaction. He joked about buying a TV, code, prosecutors later argued, for paying off the hit. He laughed nervously, called his mother, and by dinner time, Donna Adelson was already making contingency plans.
Adelson is charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation of murder in Markel's 2014 shooting death.
Behind closed doors, the family tried to sound calm, but every wiretap told another story. Calls about vacations suddenly cancelled, cash moving through friends of friends, cryptic comments like the TV situation. What they didn't know though, the walls were already closing in. It would take years, but piece by piece, detectives pulled the puzzle together. Every link between the shooters, Magbanua, Charlie, and Donna, turned suspicion into certainty. Investigators became ghosts inside their own offices, replaying wiretaps until dawn, drawing timelines across walls with red string. They traced thousands of dollars passing through shell accounts and cash withdrawals, timed to the day of the hit. One agent remembered pausing a call when Donna's voice whispered, "The deal is done." Another decoded her phrase, "paperwork handled," a euphemism for payment. Even the undercover sting at the cafe nearly went sideways when Charlie's laughter grew too loud, almost exposing the operation. But once those tapes reached the task force command room, the pattern was undeniable. Conversations about TVs, loans, and helping family were no longer metaphors. They were evidence. From that night on, the case stopped being rumor. It became a countdown to justice. When trials began, the cameras were ready, and so was America. The state's case read like a script: money, vanity, and family power. Magbanua faced the jury first, denying she knew anything. Her ex-boyfriend, one of the shooters, cut a deal and testified. Then came Charlie, the dentist who once bragged he could fix anything with cash. Prosecutors said he'd fix this problem with bullets. But the real spotlight landed on Donna, the grandmother who played innocent, trembling before cameras, claiming she knew nothing.
Never in a million years would I have wanted Danny to be harmed or killed, nor could I ever do something.
Her defense painted her as a loving mother, a victim of her son's mistakes. By the time Donna took the stand, Tallahassee felt like a true crime festival. People camped outside the courthouse before sunrise just to glimpse her entrance. Inside, cameras zoomed on every twitch of her jaw. She sat with perfect posture, correcting her lawyers under her breath, glancing at reporters as if grading their notes. The prosecution opened with a line that froze the room. She ordered a murder the same way most of us order lunch. The defense countered with soft focus. She's guilty only of loving her children too much. But photos of cash transfers and phone pings hit harder than sympathy. Witness after witness described a matriarch who ruled through fear disguised as affection. When the prosecutor displayed her text messages, short, clinical, impossible to misread, the gallery fell silent. The grandmother act was over. The mask had cracked. The jury didn't buy it. Guilty on all counts, life in prison. And as she was led away, the courtroom stayed silent, a dynasty collapsing in real time.
You are hereby sentenced to life imprisonment without possibility of parole.
After Donna's conviction, eyes turned to Wendy. Overnight, Wendy's world shrank to whispers. Reporters camped outside her apartment. Neighbors stopped saying hello. She withdrew from campus events, cancelled classes, and let unreturned messages pile up like ghosts in her inbox. Every photograph of her walking her sons to school became tabloid currency. Behind the scenes, investigators quietly reopened old digital trails, emails, travel receipts, phone backups once thought irrelevant. Friends noticed she spoke of her mother in past tense, as if already mourning the woman whose choices defined her own. To some, she was an innocent daughter trapped in a family tragedy. To others, she was the missing piece of a puzzle no one wanted to finish. And somewhere in the state attorney's office, a new file with her name on it kept getting thicker. Emails, phone logs, and testimony hinted she'd known far more than she admitted. 18-minute calls with Charlie the morning of the murder, contradictions in her statements. Still, no indictment, yet. Prosecutors moved methodically, building brick by brick.
Now that Donna Adelson has been convicted, many are asking what's next. Wendy Adelson, who's testified in every trial so far, has not been charged with a crime in this case, but many are wondering if she'll be the next to face charges.
Harvey Adelson kept a low profile, rarely speaking, his calm demeanor only adding to the unease. Was he the silent partner, or just the husband who looked away? Meanwhile, Dan Markel's parents raised the grandchildren they were once forbidden to see. The case had taken almost everyone's freedom, but the Markels fought to give those boys a future their father never got to see. What makes this story unforgettable isn't just the crime, it's the psychology behind it. A family so consumed by control that even love became transactional. They thought they could orchestrate life like a business deal. But justice doesn't run on schedules or payments. It runs on truth. Every trial, every appeal, every tear in that courtroom reminded viewers that power has limits. You can buy silence for a while. You can buy loyalty for longer. But loyalty doesn't outlast prison bars. The same luxury cars that once lined the family driveway now sit collecting dust, trophies of a vanished empire. Donna writes letters from her cell about forgiveness. Charlie trades smiles for commissary favors. The irony bites. The family that built careers fixing smiles ended up shattering their own. A rhetorical question echoes through true crime circles. How did a house of healers become architects of harm? Reporters replay courtroom footage like slow-motion autopsies of greed. Each headline, another nail in a silver coffin. Once lavish dinner parties are replaced by cafeteria trays, family phone calls by recorded lines. And yet, somewhere behind the bars and the headlines, the same delusion remains, that money, charm, or another appeal might still rewrite history. But the story's already carved in stone. For the Adelsons, reputation was currency, and it finally ran out. But you can't buy redemption. Not with 11,000-word appeals, not with fake smiles, not with whispered denials. Because once the truth starts knocking, even the richest doors can't keep it out. It's been years since that summer morning in Tallahassee, but the echoes haven't stopped. Documentaries, podcasts, endless speculation. People still ask the same question. Who was the real mastermind? The answer depends on which voice you believe. The mother who swears she's innocent, the son who thought charm could erase guilt, or the daughter who stayed quiet, long after quiet became complicity. What's certain is this: Dan Markel's name became more than a headline. It became a mirror, reflecting what happens when privilege meets consequence. And in that reflection, one truth stands tall. Some families build legacies of love, others build legacies of lies, and the Adelsons built theirs on both.